Chapter 12, Bioinformation. We see organisms as entities of matter and energy, physical and solid. That is true, but not limited to physicality alone. Living organisms are embodiments of information as well. All living things have genetic information that is the blueprint for an organism's existence and propagation. In essence, everything we are made of and perceive is information. Information could be in the form of properties that could be described or perceived. Every piece of knowledge is information, including the person who possesses it. This topic has been my favorite since I first heard the word gene in 7th grade. Studying genes, genomes, and genetic information has become my passion and maybe an addiction. I have been teaching the subject for the past 15 years to bachelor's and master's students. Each year, there is something new for me to learn. In this chapter, we start with a philosophical approach to the definition of information, a brief description of genetic information, and the chemical and molecular biology of bioinformation. I am attempting to review genetic information, genomes, and variations in philosophical ways. However, this chapter does not downplay the essence of molecular genetics. We shall look into the nature of information itself, the origin of bioinformation, and how bioinformation plays out as a physical entity full of life. All human existence, civilizational evolution, and expansion beyond Earth are the product of information. What is information? Traditionally, information is processed, organized, and meaningful data that conveys knowledge, facts, or instructions. It carries meaning and can be communicated through different media. Information can be factual, descriptive, instructional, or conceptual. In information theory, it is quantified as a measure of reduced uncertainty. Information is essential for communication, decision-making, problem-solving, and acquiring knowledge. It is shared through various channels. It can be subjective or objective, accurate or misleading, and interpretation can vary. Assessing the reliability and validity of information is important for determining its quality and usefulness. In my view, anything that is repeated in some form or perception is information. Unlike most other organisms, humans have developed several types of complex information, such as language, computer programs, etc. We are overwhelmed with our abstract information systems, and anything that is not in a language or a program is not considered information. Nevertheless, everything is information depending on the seeker's or observer's perception. Everything we perceive is information. That is how we identify the entities. A triangle has 3 straight sides and 3 corners. The shape, design, spatial arrangement, and every other property are all, in a way, information. Even emotions such as happiness, ecstasy, and exhilaration are information. Sensation and perception are information. The information includes the dog's barks, the bird's songs, the peacock's dances, and the paper boat. The dog's barks may not mean much to us, nor the babbles of an infant. We sure know the wagging of our pet dog upon our arrival at home. That is information too. The dog conveys some happy emotions to us. We should realize that everything we perceive through matter, design, symbolism, expression, or existence is information. Upon perceiving, all that information is knowledge to the perceiver. An American mathematician and philosopher, Norbert Wiener, says, "Information is information, not matter or energy. No materialism that does not admit this can survive in the present day." To me, though, information is the ordered arrangement of matter or energy at the most fundamental level, or at least dependent on matter or energy. I say so because information exists either in the form of matter or energy. Information is communicated in matter or energy, and information is transferred through time and space in matter or energy. All information has 2 parts, the content and the medium. The content is the intended effect, cause, or perception. The medium is how it is relayed to the receiver, observer, or perceiver. The medium is required for our perception and brain to make sense of the content. Therefore, both components, content and the medium, are necessary to qualify something as information. Even emotions are information, and there is an action, energy, or chemical involved in the communication and perception of these emotions. The dog is happy, wags its tail, and we know it is happy. The dog is hungry and salivates, and we know that the dog is hungry. Love depends on the neurotransmitters communicated through actions, speech, touch, or expression. The partner observes those different forms of communication through vision and perception through neurotransmitters. Think of a blind person walking down the street without the help of anyone or a device. There is a pit on the way. The presence of the pit is true, that is the content, but the blind person would never know it until experiencing the pit by falling in. To the onlookers, the pit is there, and they know it, but not to the blind person. The information that there is a pit is true for those who could see, but not for the blind. But assume that all the people were blind in that location. While the presence of the pit is true, there is not yet information until at least one experiences the pit and gives out a call. While the presence of the pit is objectively true, to the people who could not perceive, it is non-existent. This implies the importance of the content and the perception of what qualifies as information. In that sense, a blind person believes only those they can perceive through multiple senses before ascertaining the information. The blind can never see a mirage, and the deaf can never hear a lie. Let us get back to the components of information and how it impacts based on order and perception. I want to use an analogy here regarding a medium for information, language. Look at the composition and meaning of the following sentences. Sentence 1, me, 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 me. Sentence 2, me, 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 me. Sentence 3, m, 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 m. Sentence 4, I am me and you are not. Sentence 5, I cannot be you. Sentence 6, me are and you are not am. Sentence 7, I love you. Sentence 8, I love you not. Sentences 1 and 2 are similar except for the difference in size. They do not contain much information except for the word me. Sentence 3, compared to sentences 1 and 2, is significantly larger and has subcomponents. However, it does not provide much information except for the presence of some m's. Sentences 4 and 5 differ greatly from sentences 1, 2, and 3. They consist of diverse subcomponents arranged in a specific order and convey meaning in English. Diverse subcomponents are necessary for conveying complex information. Sentence 6 uses the same diverse words as sentence 4, but it does not convey any meaning. This implies that the sequence of the words is what constitutes the information, the logical connection between the words. Sentence 7 is the most famous sentence in the world. The only difference between sentences 7 and 8 is the word not, but it completely changes the meaning of sentence 7. The positive sentiment in sentence 7 becomes a negative one in sentence 8. Every medium of information, language, is composed of diverse subcomponents and rules for creating higher-level subcomponents, which can be combined in a syntactically appropriate manner to convey information. All languages have diverse sounds represented by alphabets, combined in specific ways to create complex sounds known as words. One can create innumerable words by varying the infinite meanings and combinations of communication. A sentence is formed to convey instructions or information by using diverse words in a specific sequence. Similarly, computers operate on information composed of bits and bytes. The sequence of bytes creates a script, and sequences of scripts form a program. Mathematics is also a crucial language humans use to better understand, express, and perceive the universe in quantities. Language describes the qualities, while mathematics describes the quantities. Maths reduces the enormous redundancy in description. If there are 3 oranges on the table, language without quantities would be orange, orange, and orange on the table, instead of 3 oranges on the table. Mathematics is a language of symbols, some of the counts and some of the connections. Humans create, copy, and replicate information in languages, mathematics, and computer programs to preserve and make it accessible. Once again, it is important to note that information is subjective. The perception of the individuals involved in a specific context also determines whether something qualifies as information for that context with certainty. Sentence 7, I love you. Sentence 8, I love you not. Sentence 9, Jeg elsker dig. Sentence 10, Yatsibelu lublu. Sentence 11, Watashi wa anata o aishitemasu, abichim te. Sentence store ends, x plus a square n equals n minus square k, x square k, a square n na k, h shis hey. Sentence, nane nesikran. What do the above sentences convey to you? Is there any information in these sentences? Unless one is familiar with the several languages depicted, medium of communication, it is impossible to say the meaning of the sentence with absolute accuracy. One might guess based on the meaning of one sentence there, but cannot be sure of the meaning. Firstly, are all the above sentences legitimate? This exercise demonstrates that the receiver is also a component in determining if something is information to the receiver. Suppose there is a room with 100 monolingual people, each with a different mother tongue. Nobody would ever understand anyone else in the room. I may guess the meaning to an extent, but I am never certain. It is a room of chaos with no tangible information. Sometimes the same sounds could mean different things in different languages. The sound gift is something like a present in English, while in Danish it means poison or to get married. It is like one's music could be noise to others. Our ability to perceive also depends on the medium of information, language. We shall all wait and wonder if any information comes from extraterrestrial life forms. We might never know, for we know neither their content nor their medium of communication. Everything is information, and it is everywhere. However, for something to qualify as information, there must be a medium through which it can be perceived. Language is the initial form of knowledge. In biology, the medium for information is as diverse as the variety of organisms. It encompasses both tangible forms, such as chemical signals, and abstract ones, such as expressions and language. Living organisms utilize chemicals, energy, expressions, and language as means of conveying information. Animals, in particular, possess highly developed communication systems that can be linked to their nervous systems. Most of our responses to stimuli and emotions manifest as energy. Animals have evolved methods of transferring information through sound and light. For instance, fireflies employ light as a means of sexual communication, while bombardier beetles emit sudden bursts of heat to signify threat. Birds communicate sexual fitness through physical activities like dancing. Our expressions, body language, and fashion choices also serve as forms of communication with our fellow beings. We alter our facial expressions and body language to convey intent, create a certain impression, or captivate others. Similarly, humans have developed various levels of language proficiency, which can be conveyed through reading, speaking, writing, and singing. Language is communicated through a sequence of sounds, which can also be represented by alphabets in writing. At its most basic level, the medium can be categorized as matter, energy, light, sound, heat, magnetism, gravity, expression, and language. It would be safe to say that every observed and perceived matter, energy, and force can be considered as information. Suppose an organism recognizes a signal or sign as a conveyed message. That stimulus must be given multiple times to associate it with the intended meaning or establish a perception. According to Merriam-Webster.com, a word gets into a dictionary when it is used by many people who all agree that it means the same thing. If your toddler nephew invented a great word that the English language simply cannot do without, do not write to us to recommend that it be added to the dictionary. The repetition and replication of the stimulus with the associated information will then qualify as legitimate information. Language or information medium originates from replication, reproducibility. The sequence of sounds or characters should be replicable and perceived. Then, the words and components of a language are assigned or coded with a perceptible meaning or information. More entities will start perceiving and replicating the information. From then on, language evolves to communicate more complex information,